Okay, we got a day 30 update. Folks, this year the struggle has been real. We have not had hardly any sunny days, it seems like. It's been cold, wet, rainy, and windy. I mean, we're talking Colorado Hurricane Katrina wind. Today was no exception. I can't believe the plants survived. But we have a day 30 update. I will show you. I've learned a lot this season, more than any other season. I started out with just a crazy amount of biology in my starts, learned some things about soil temp. Once I moved outside, learned some things about soil temp and CO2. I'm generating a lot of CO2 inside these huts. In fact, even the big ones with the big plants here, I can generate 2,000, 2,500 overnight in early morning with them gobbling up. But I was at 10,000 parts per million, which experts will tell you that is toxic. Do not grow plants in it, blah, blah, blah. So let's look at these plants. This is day 30. They got a little wind whip today, but they're not perfect. I will tell you they're not perfect, nor do I care. All I care about is roots, shoots, leaves, vines, whatever, and that we're growing. So here we are. I get a lot of questions about lights. How long do I keep them on? I try and mimic the longest day possible out there, which is, on at like 5 or 6 and then off at like 10 or 11. So let's get into this contraption and see. Over here we have a 2365, which did not come easy, but here we are, day 30. This thing is all of, I would say 11 or 12 feet if I'm, 11 foot wide here. And I would say all of 10 foot long. But the problem was on day 23, these things were growing so fast that I had these little lights right here, down and in front. Love these little lights, but they do produce a little bit of heat. As you can see, Exhibit A, Exhibit B, I think we've even got Exhibit C here. At any rate, they produce a little bit of light, or heat and a lot of light, but it really helps me direct these vines, which I love, except for the fact that the heat. So I had a good 18 inches, maybe even 20 inches to spare, and by the time I could look at them, the stupid thing had grown almost right into it and fried. And I thought I could keep this one, but long story short, it fried. I was on day 23. Both these plants were right around 6 foot long main, and I smoked them. And I did the same one with the other one. The other one was growing like a weed, 16 plus inches a day in almost every direction. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I had to move to the big huts around day 25. I did not think that these big huts would even survive today, but they did with the air tarp. My poor clothesline was bent at a 45-degree angle. Let's go look at the Godzilla. This thing was cranking pretty good too. And you can see a couple things here. This one's probably about the same. It's just not as full. And the only reason why it's not as full is because I had a double side vine here. You can see that ribbon right there with the root. Oh yeah, still doing a lot. But it's not quite as full. I also had a vine right here. By the way, I do prune off at least the first 2, if not 3 side vines, which is crazy. I've done that for now at least a few years. But one thing you can always tell about a plant, and I say this and I see so many examples of it online, but side vines are everything, okay? Everyone's like, how do you get side vines, good side vines, right? How do you get good side vines? Well, A lot of people say, oh, it's potassium or it's phosphorus or nitrogen. I think it's just overall plant happiness. If your plant is happy, you should have side vines equally as long as your main vine. I know that sounds crazy because you never see it, but that is the honest to God truth. You look at an Ian pumpkin or a Stewart pumpkin, okay, they have almost a perfect triangle, and that's what I'm looking for right away. I don't worry about stuff like this. I mean, yeah, okay, you could say this is nitrogen bloated or whatever. I don't know any different. This is how my world record grew. This is how Godzilla grew. This is how Maverick grew. This is what I know, okay? And when we talk energy, let me show you some things. Pumpkin roots, like crazy, okay? Now, maybe I shouldn't have buried up that stump, but I did. You can see all the roots popping out there. I mean, this is just craziness. But I'm trying to keep these vines 8 to 10 inches above my original soil. Now, I do got a lot of potting soil underneath here as well where I started. But these starts, it's very crucial that they have loose dirt, okay? But over to this Godzilla plant, I want to see side vines popping out every which way, almost as long. And you can see that I killed the main, but it's already starting a new main. And I almost grew 2 pumpkins on this, but I think I decided against it just a couple hours ago. But I was going to grow 2 pumpkins on this one plant and prove a 50-year-old theory wrong. And I just don't know if I'm going to do that this year now, because I pruned up some tertiaries that would have been good for my second pumpkin. But at any rate, that's kind of all I got for day 30. I'm working on a lot of things, a lot of biology. The CO2 in here, well, it's been open now, so I doubt it's anything good. Oh yeah, still almost 1200, okay? Which is perfect. But it'll get more throughout the evening too. But once these things start photosynthesizing and gobbling it up, yeah, my light kind of, holy cow, this whole thing shifted tonight. But yeah, whatever, is what it is. I've got to add a couple more in. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on. Day 30, this plant here, I would say it's 9.5, maybe 10 by, well, not very wide because I trimmed the double vine and then I trimmed off this vine that was growing into the light. It was growing like straight up, so I cut that and then I began some secondaries. But now they're starting to go, and this plant still has a lot of energy behind it as well, and it should be pretty good. But yeah, I would say 9 foot by 9 foot, 9 foot by 10 foot. Not bad for day 30. The other one's probably slightly bigger. This one would have been crazy had I not lost this main on day 23 too. This thing was going. And these things have kind of jumped back and forth a little bit in which one's ahead and which one's behind. But all my plants for the past 5 years have been roughly the same, okay? So I don't know. I see a lot of people are, oh, this one's wrong, this one's not good. I often ask, is it condition specific? Okay. Does one get more light? Does one get more heat? Does one get slightly more fertilizer? Yeah, I don't know what you're doing to them, but I'm not using much fertilizer on these, to be honest. I'm using a lot of biologicals, but not a lot of biologicals with a heavy fertilizer count to them, and it's just doing it. And I'm going to continue. And speaking of biologicals, I got to go do a feed right now. I usually like to feed during the day when it's warm, but since we're out of time, today we have to do a little feeding, and we'll see. So that's it. The other thing is check out these soil temps. I guess you can't really see that. It's flashing. This one's okay. This one's on cooling, heating, cooling. Yeah. So all these cables, I can measure 3 feet down, and I'm at 83 degrees, which 3 feet down. Often people think that the roots won't go deep. Well, they will if they've got the right conditions. If they've got enough oxygen, nutrients, and soft soil, they will. So that's why I dig so deep. But hope all's well. Hope you guys had a great start and get those plants hopping. And yeah, that's kind of what we got. Hope all's well.